Ladies and gentlemen, how are we doing today? I have a match for you. It's a pretty long one against the Xseakoalax or something along those lines. As you can see, I'm using like a very 4th gen team. I don't think I actually have any 5th gen guys in it. I don't. He, in fact, has kind of spread of UUs and stuff like that. So we're going to see how this goes. It's a pretty long one, so should be relatively interesting. And as we can see, Xseakoalax is a lead off on his side, and of course Stealth Rock is what I'm going to be predicting on the first turn, which is why I go for the Toxic Spite straight off the bat. Now the problem here is that his Xseakoalax does not opt to go for Stealth Rock first turn. It in fact opts to go for Earthquake, which I survive with the smidgeliest of smidgens and manage to set up my second layer, but not a very good start for me because I have lost Tentacruel now. He managed to take me out with an Earthquake followed up by a Dragon Tail. I do have those that poison down, and that's going to be pretty crucial, I think, for the rest of the game. So I'm glad I have it out. I'm going to Skarmory now because Skarmory, Xseakoalax can't do really anything to me apart from Dragon Tail me out. So I go for the Stealth Rock on the switch into Zapdos, which is going to be a lot, it's going to help me take down Zapdos as opposed to any of others guys, because obviously Zapdos is not going to take anything from the poison. I'm going to have to go really faster because this is a really difficult to narrate video. So he's going to Thunderbolt me. I'm going to obviously absorb that with Mamoswine as predicted, and I go for the Icicle Crash on Zapdos, hoping that that's going to take it out. Unfortunately, he is a defensive build with leftovers, and it lives him with just a tiny, minuscule amount. But at this point, Stealth Rock will kill him on switching. I'm going to go for the Ice Shard in case Icicle Crash misses, and that does take out Zapdos. So a bit of a mouthful there, but I think we're caught up at this kind of point in time. So he has a lot of threatening things, one of these things being Kingdra, and at this point, I make a bit of misplay. Like, I decide to go to Starmie, thinking he's going to set up Rain, or thinking he's going to go for a Surf or a Water move, and trying to resist that, but foolishly I kind of forget that the Dragon Dance sets are quite prevalent with Kingdra these days, and he sets one up, and I'm thinking, this is going to be Dragon Dance Resto Chesto, isn't it? It really is, and it's going to ruin my life if I do not manage to get it under control. So really poor play here. I decided to stay in. I have no idea why. Outrage was relatively obvious at that point, and I really should have switched out into Skarmory, but the loss of Starmie is going to be a bit of a big pain in my ass, because I kind of needed that thing for a couple of guys on his team. Would have made life a little bit easier for me, Xseakoalax especially. So I'm going to go into Skarmory now, go for the Brave Bird, as he is, hitting himself down with Outrage and waiting for that to eventually kill him with Poison racking up as well. And I believe that he's confused now, and I'm hoping, please hit yourself Confusion so I can kill you with the Brave Bird this turn. Please do it, please. And it doesn't. Rests up. Gets the Chesto Berry, removes the poison, still has the +1, and I'm like, well, bollocks. That is biggest bollocks of all time ever. But fortunately for me, I actually decide to roost on that turn, thinking he may hit himself in Confusion, then die from poison. Doesn't happen because Rest, of course, is going to, pull out the bag for him. Fortunately, though, he's going to hit himself in Confusion on this turn, which is pretty crucial, because I would not have liked to take a +1 Waterfall, I'll tell you that much for free. And I managed to Whirlwind him out into Xseakoalax, which at this point is pretty much a deadlock. Xseakoalax and Skarm can't really do too much to each other. All we can do is phase each other out, really, at this point. I mean, I'm not going to go Brave Birding his ass or anything, and he's not going to go Earthquaking me. So it's dependent on who wants to phase each other out first. I decide to opt to do that because I have nothing else to do with Skarmory at this point. And I phase him into Entei, which takes a hell of a lot from the entry hazards, gets fully poisoned, and also takes a quarter from Stealth Rock. So very beneficial to have Entei at a sort of a not very healthy range, should I say. So I'm going to go into my only thing that can really resist Entei at this point. I've lost my 2 water types, and Tentacruel would have been so useful at this point, but I go into Rotom. Max Special Defense Rotom isn't going to take a Flare Blitz nicely. It does resist it, of course, but you know what? It's physical powerhouse, Entei. It has a lot of attack, and even on a resisted hit, I'm not going to be able to take that, so I'm actually, unfortunately, going to die here. Rotom falling, my guys are falling like flies here. I've lost Rotom, I've lost Starmie, I've lost Tentacruel, and not looking too tasty. I do have the advantage in terms of the hazards, though, so I'm hoping that that's going to sort of win me out in the long run. So I'm going to go into my Mamoswine here, hope to pick him off with an Ice Shard. I pretty sure that he wouldn't stay in just because Stealth Rock's going to kill him on the switch in, but I guess he decides to leave it as death fodder for later on, which, you know, it's no bad thing, and, you know, it's fine if he decides to do that. So, in comes Steelix, and I'm thinking, Earthquake isn't going to kill him, but it's going to do a lot to Steelix. I'm just going to put him in a really revengeable range where Infernape can come in and close combat it and hopefully take that thing out and just threaten it, really. So I'm just basically hoping here to live the Earthquake afterwards, threaten him with a 2-hit KO, and you know, kind of play from there, I guess. I'm hoping I'm going to live this Earthquake. I mean, I saw how much it did to Tenta, but then again, Tentacruel doesn't have very good defenses, and of course, it is super effective on it. So I do actually manage to live it, thankfully. On 34, gives me around enough for one more Life Orb Recall, that is. I think it's one more. It should be, because of the dividing by the total HP number. I go for the Icicle Crash there. Maybe thinking he may want to switch, but at this point he's going to go into Entei as death fodder, not knowing what move I'm going to go for, because I have those kind of options on my plate at this time, and I just opt for the safe Earthquake. It's fine, he dies anyway, so it doesn't really make too much of a difference for me. So in comes Gallade, and I know that Gallade and Mamoswine are both the same base speed, so what I decide to do is I decide to, you know, risk it and hope maybe I'm going to win a speed tie, and I decide to go for the Earthquake, but unfortunately he's either scarfed or he wins a speed tie because he manages to take me out with a Psycho Cut. So I go into Moriarty, and at this point this is just a bit of a stall fest between Skarmory and a lot of his dudes. Now Skarmory is going to be so crucial in this match. He has a Gallade, he has Steelix, he has this Chansey, and he has Kingdra, and those four things cannot really kill Skarmory, like, individually. They're going to have to work together, really, to take me down. It's going to be very difficult. Kingdra, with its Dragon Dances, probably has the highest chance of doing so, but as you can see, I'm going to get paralyzed by the Chansey, Whirlwind and back out into this Steelix, and I just do not want to switch, and I know that one of us is going to phase at one point, and I only have Infernape and Skarmory left. I'm 2 against 4 at this point, and it's really, really, really crucial. So this is a pretty important play here. I decide to go for the close combat, knowing that he's going to protect, and what he was, you know, what I'm trying to make him think is that I'm either locked into close combat or that I'm a fully physical Infernape, and I'm thinking close combat may not take out Steelix for some reason. I don't know why, but I decided to go for the Overheat there, you know, because obviously Overheat is a special attack and it's going to take out Steelix because it doesn't have as good special defense, but I kind of lull him into a full sense of security with the close combat, giving him that slight sort of mental image that he may be able to live a physical hit as opposed to a special one, so that's, I kind of use his Protect to my real advantage there, as I managed to take out the Steelix, which is really, really crucial. I can now easily get to the Chansey, that is, with Infernape, without having to worry about Steelix too much, or any other type of thing like that. So I go into Skarmory here to take the Psycho Cut. I don't want to risk, you know, I'm not sure if the Gallade is scarfed or not, but I just have a feeling that the way that he's playing the Gallade, it really seems scarfed to me. So I do not want to stay in with Infernape on it. I have Skarmory here, and Skarmory does a fantastic job of walling Gallade all day, every day, especially if it's scarfed. Close combat is not a 2-hit KO. If it is a Scarf Gallade, it's a 3-hit KO, I think, at most. So, in comes Kingdra. I get paralyzed, which is slightly annoying, but Waterfall really isn't doing a lot, so I'm not too worried. I mean, I'm hoping he's going to die from this poison, but for the second time in this match, Kingdra eludes me again and manages to find an area in which it can rest off the damage, which is really, really rather unfortunate, I have to say. It's just gonna make the match longer, really. I don't want to be pushing it on, but if I'm going to have to, I will wall this guy with Skarmory, and I will do it to the end. I only have Ape, I only have Skarmory, and if I have to, that's what I'm going to do. So, in comes Chansey. At this point, I'm thinking, I need a safe switch at some point into this thing, and what I did was I knew that his Kingdra was going to sleep for 2 turns, so on the turn he brings in Chansey, that's the turn I bring in Infernape. The Versus Recorder doesn't really document that too well, but that's what happens, and at this point I've got him in a really compromising position. Close combat will do a lot to Glade, even if it wants to switch in and resist, and it'll do a hell of a lot to Kingdra, so really at this point, Chansey is his weakest link. It's not going to do a hell of a lot against Infernape. Skarmory can pretty much stall it relatively well, and it is of course poisoned. It has aromatherapy, but you know, it's not too big of a deal for me to deal with, so get rid of it. In comes Gallade, gonna go straight back to Skarmory, do not want to be Scarf out spared, and I know that Infernape is my best way to kill the Kingdra, so I'm gonna go back in Skarmory here, obviously, I can Brave Bird, and at this point I'm thinking he's just going to leave Gallade in. I don't think he's going to switch, so I think I'm going to stay in, go for the Brave Bird, knowing I'm going to live another hit, and he actually switches to Kingdra, which is a bit annoying. It means I get some damage on it, and, you know, bring it down to the point where I can relatively easily kill it, but what I don't want to do is be in a range where Gallade can kill me after I kill Kingdra, so I know he has to rest for 2 more turns, so I'm going to roost up to full, and then on the second turn of his sleep, I'm going to go into Infernape, which will allow me to land a close combat on the Kingdra, and then that should kill it, and then after that, Gallade can come in, and hopefully, as long as Skarmory doesn't get paralyzed at all, I should have this game. Gallade comes in, outspeeds Infernape, as you can see, that is scarfed, and it takes me out of the close combat, and I'm just hoping here that Skarmory can survive without getting paralyzed, so goes for the close combat, going to go for the Brave Bird, and hopefully don't get paralyzed, hit it with a Brave Bird, take out the Gallade, and really, that was a tough game, that was. I mean, I was at a distinct advantage in terms of tier, but I kind of just let my guys die at the start. I let the guys die far too easily, gave him an advantage, and I was down to just Infernape and Skarmory for at least 20 turns. Like, half of that match, halfway through, I was 2-4 down, and pretty difficult to bring it back, but Skarm always proves to be such a monster, especially in the face of any physical offensive threat, and does the job. So really good game, managed to pull it out there in the end, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, you can leave a like rating, that would always be very nice, and check out my social links at Twitter, Facebook, and Tumblr, all the respective links below in the description. So I'll see you guys next time on me narrating a video, and I hope you guys have a nice day. See you soon.